Good morning everybody, here is the LS400 that we picked up in the last episode. This is going to be the donor car for the E30 build. Obviously it's got a 1UZ. I ended up getting this off Copart, I got it for 770 quid. It runs, which is great news. It's actually a category U, so it's unrecorded, but it doesn't make a difference to us because the shell's going to be scrapped anyway. So as you know, we're going to be taking this engine out of the LS400 and we're going to be putting it in the E30. So I bought a full running car so that I know everything here, the engine will start. So our plan is we're going to take everything out of this to make it run and put it in the E30. So that means the engine, the wiring loom, the key, the clocks, basically anything in this car that's going to make it run is just going to be put in the E30. We need to get the engine out at some point, but first of all we need to mark up the wiring loom. I'm hoping that it's easy enough that the whole engine loom just disconnects by itself. Usually that is the case in a lot of cars, so if we could just disconnect the engine loom, we've just got one plug for the engine loom and the other for the engine, we can actually take the engine out and not have to mark everything because it's just one plug. But what we will have to do is we'll have to mark the rest of the wiring loom. So we've got everything like that goes to the door cards, everything that goes to the speakers, the automatic gearbox, the rear lights, most of it's going to be cut out of the car. So we need to basically get everything out of the interior so that we can see all of the wiring and get access to all of the wiring. So it's just outside now, there's no point pulling it inside, so we're literally just going to start pulling some things out like carpets, plastics, and we're going to put them straight in the bin. Literally just ripping everything out, and already this is good because this is the wiring loom and it's nowhere near as big as the Mercedes one, which is great news. So I'm literally just ripping out all the plastics. I don't even think we need to take the seats out because I don't think there's any wiring that goes underneath there. But first of all, this is the main wiring harness for the engine. I did think about just cutting that in half with like a grinder and then rewiring them later, but there's tons of wires in there, so I'm not going to do that. So hopefully when we find this down here, when we take all the dash out, there's literally just a plug for the engine loom, and that'll save a lot of hassle. But we do need things like ECUs and relays and fuse boxes and things like that. So I'm going to take as much as possibly as I need, and then hopefully later down the line we can start removing some stuff that we don't need. But anything engine related here is going to be very important. Now the good thing is we can literally just rip everything out because we don't need it. So we rip everything out, it's going to go straight in the bin. Dash related or anything, we can literally just pull it and snap it. We don't need it. I'm not messing around. I've cut myself so much. I need to slow down actually. I need to mess around a little bit more because I'm starting to really hurt myself. But the plan is, I'm just taking everything out. Literally everything out of the way. If I can unplug it, great. Now what I'm going to do is anything that doesn't look important, I'm going to unplug. So things like the heater matrix, like the lights, the radio, I'm just going to unplug for now, not chop them. And then try to get a load of stuff that's unplugged, start the car, see if it drives fine. If it does, I'm just going to chop all them plugs off because all it's going to do is just confuse you when I've got the wiring loom out the car. Right, so I've pulled quite a lot of stuff out the car and I've unplugged quite a lot of connectors. So I've just put power to the jumper and we're going to see if it starts. If it starts, all these wires that I've cut off so far, well, we're going to cut off. So all these, let's just cut them off and get them out of the way. So if the engine starts without it, it's coming off. Right, so I've got so much stuff out the way. I've got the dash out the way. I've even got the clocks off. The clocks aren't plugged in. There's so much like wiring and plugs here, and okay, didn't like that. I'm going to plug them back in. Something on here is important, so let me plug them back in. Yeah, so something on there is important, so let's not cut like one of these three plugs. So maybe we'll try and keep this bit of wiring. I don't know what it is, but it's not worth the risk. Okay, so I unplugged this one and the car wouldn't start. It started, then it died, and then it was just cranking. So I plugged it back in and it's running. So one of these is the fuel pump. So we're gonna keep that. So we're gonna keep the stock wiring for the fuel pump, and either give our own pump or even just use the pump out of this. So we need to keep this plug here. So I'm gonna label it with some masking tape. Okay, so luckily this is the engine loom here, and that goes right into the engine. Now there isn't a plug there, but there's two plugs here, and there's 3 plugs right into the ECU, so we can just go boom, 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 and we can pull that whole loom out of the bay, which should be great. Obviously we need this is the ECU and the immobilizer box and everything like that. We need this wiring down here because that's got the fuel pump on, and this also comes into the main loom up here, which goes to the clocks and the ignition and everything like that. So we're going to need this over here as well. It goes through there. I think that goes up to the wing or something like that. I'm not quite sure where that goes, but we are going to need, well, to at least follow that and see where it goes to. But to me, that goes through to the wings. It might be a little bit difficult. So that might be like lights and things like that. But annoyingly, the fuel pump is on there, and this is quite a big plug. So I'd rather take that because it goes back to the main loom up here. So we've kind of got most of it ready to go, to be honest. I've just realized I'm not going to do the lights. I'm not going to take the wiring for the lights because there's no point. I'll just put them to a 12 volt on a switch inside the car manually. I don't need to mess around with the lights. So the only really things we need from like the back of the car is like just the fuel pump wiring, which we know where that is now. We're also going to have to take the lambda sensors here. So we've got one on either side. So we've got this one and there's another one down the side there. So we can unplug them when the car's in the air and just take them with us. I don't know if they're the pre-cats or the post-cats. If it's the post-cats, we don't really need them. But if it's the pre-cats, we will kind of need them. So we're going to follow this. This goes to the engine. So we're going to follow this loom here. And we're just going to get that off. Annoyingly, the loom splits off to here. And it comes this box, and we don't need that box. I've unplugged everything. But then the loom goes underneath here to, I'm guessing this is going to be the gearbox stuff. So I am going to start pulling some of these gearbox plugs and pray the car starts. But first of all, let's just free everything up on that side because we're almost done with the front of the loom, to be fair. So let's just free up this other side all the way around here, get the bolts off, and we'll get the ignition off and things like that. So it's starting to get dark now, so we're going to end the video here. Tomorrow we'll pull it into the unit since we've got all day tomorrow, and we'll just finish it off. I'm struggling to get the ignition barrel off because it's like one big unit. So I'm struggling to get the ignition barrel off, and me being stupid as well, I put the window down and I can't get it back up. I obviously haven't touched the wiring for the doors, but obviously something has been disconnected, and now I can't put the windows back up. So it's not ideal. That's a tomorrow problem. I'll probably just wrap it in a bag or something tonight, and then I'll deal with that tomorrow. So tomorrow we literally should have most of the wiring loom out, and we can actually probably start taking the engine out tomorrow. And now I know I can just disconnect the engine loom from inside the car from the ECU, which is perfect news. So I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good morning everybody, good morning everybody. We've actually got the LS400 inside today. I've still not moved into the unit yet because I'm still looking for a flat and stuff, so there are some other cars in here, and it might just not be as tidy or professional as it is because I do want to get some more lighting in here as well. It's really dark, so once we move in we're going to be getting like all LED lights in here, so it's like a little bit more like this everywhere instead of like that. So we are going to put some more LED lighting up there, but obviously we've just got to work what we've got for the time being. So today we've got the LS400 in. As you see in the last video, we ripped out a ton of wiring. It's pretty much all ready to go now. I kind of know all the wiring that I need. I've got everything loose, got the ECU loose. We know where the engine connects into the ECU, so we can take the engine out and keep the wiring on the engine. We've made some good progress. So one thing I've got to do, which I'm just going to rack on with now and not really show you guys, is I've got to follow the fuel pump wiring to the back. I know where the fuel pump connector is, but I don't know where the fuel pump actual wiring is, and I would actually like to use the fuel pump wiring off the LS400 and off the LS400 ECU. Whether we're going to tap another fuel pump into that wiring, or whether we're just going to use the LS400 fuel pump, I'm not entirely sure yet. So I think I'm going to take the fuel pump just in case. That way I know that fuel pump works with that wiring, it works with that connector, it works with this engine, it works with the ECU, you know, it all works. So I think I'm just going to take the LS400 fuel pump along with the connector. But what we got to do is, I've got to find that last wiring and do that. I've also got to get the car in the air, and we've got to unplug the everything from the automatic gearbox. And first of all, pray that it starts. I haven't really filmed much just because it's been boring. It's just been a repeat of what I was doing the other day. Literally just trying to chase back all the wiring, and if we don't need it, cut it off. I've been doing this for about all day, to be honest, and we've got to the point where I have the whole loom here in this box. So here is everything that we need, probably and a bit more, to be fair, but at the end, once I started taking the grounds off and stuff and I couldn't start the car, I didn't cut anything else off after that. So there's quite a lot in here that we probably don't need. We can figure that out after we've done it. We've got the throttle cable here and the throttle pedal. Well, the actual pedal is still on the car. We've got the engine wiring loom, which is just dangling here. The engine wiring loom there, which is all unplugged from the car. So everything's pretty much ready to go. All I've got to do is there's one more loom which just connects here to that side of the car, but it's linked behind the radiator, so I'm just going to take that off when we've got the aircon out of the way and the radiator and stuff. Got the clocks here, everything's good to go. It's been so, I don't want to say boring because it's been interesting doing it, but like, yeah, it's been long and it's took way longer than I thought. It was just like a massive, like all this bit here was just like so difficult to get in and stuff, but I'll show you what the car looks like inside. So here's what it looks like. It's a bit dark here, so I need to get the lights sorted, but yeah, there's absolutely nothing left in there. It's all out. Annoyingly, I made sure to put it in neutral before I took the wiring loom off, and it's in neutral, and the wheels are stuck, so we're gonna have to put it on some little trolley jack things. But yeah, there it is. We've got the ignition, we've got everything out of it. The one more thing that I do need to get, and I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with it, is the fuel pump wiring. I don't know if it's worth chasing it all the way back throughout the car, because I've got all the shit in the back of it. I don't know if it's worth it when I could just put like a new one on the switch. But I'm going to think about that and just maybe do some research, see what people have done, because I would rather just use the standard fuel pump wiring and the standard fuel pump, because I know it's going to work. It's just one less thing to potentially go wrong. But I don't know, these guys here are smart and they've made race cars and stuff out of fuel pumps and stuff, so I don't think I'm going to have too much of an issue. So the next thing is just get the engine out. Everything's ready to go, to be fair. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to be taking the engine out. We're just going to cut the front of the car off. Just going to cut the front of the bash panel off and just bring the engine out from the front. And then we can... well, I need to order my adapter plate and my custom flywheel for my BMW gearbox, but it's a lot of money and I'm trying to get it flat in a minute, so just in case I need to pay some 6 months up front or whatever, I don't want to order it right now, but I'm going to have to order it in the next few days or so. So yeah, I don't know what this video is going to be like, so I've not really filmed anything, so it might just be an add-on to another video. Look at my hair, it's an absolute mess. But yeah, we've done well today, we've got all the loom out, we're ready to go, so we'll see you in the next video.